As I read that gospel today, that song from, I don't know, 6th or 7th grade was like ringing in my ears, whatsoever you do to the least of my people, that you do unto me, apparently based on this reading. So today's gospel creates the impression that at the end of the day, the chosen one prefers sheep to goats. This might be my shortest homily. No. I'm done. No. The good sheep / people occupy assigned places on the right. Of course, the right. And the bad goats, people, assemble to the left side. The good will be rewarded, while the bad condemned. Sheep are branded compassionate, while goats are branded shameful and feisty. So here's the question. Do you see yourself with the goats or the sheep? We had some vying here. So anyone else disturbed by the starkness of the all or nothing message here? So remembering a comment Daniel Berrigan made about parables led me back to our readings in search of a spark of inspiration. To quote Berrigan, even an innocent, pastoral, tender, innocuous seeming parable conceals just below the surface a whiplash, a shock, a charge of dynamite. So with that as motivation, I attempted to research to find a better story to share today, besides the black and white one about the sheep and the goats. So my curiosity paid off as 3 insights were unearthed in this process. So to the ruler, we probably grew up thinking or hearing this reading in the context of king, Christ as king. The criteria was consistent, whether you were a sheep or a goat. How have you treated those who are hungry, thirsty, estranged, naked, ill, or in prison? Could the message be any clearer to us? Extend compassion to all in need. Credit for the remaining insights goes to Nigerian Jesuit and feminist theologian Ebonke Mege Orobator. And I think just being able to pronounce this man's first name, I get extra credit. And I heard him on a podcast called Preach. And Orobator suggests that in our ordinary living, we are never just sheep or goats. We are both. He asks, who among us measure up perfectly to Jesus's mandate to feed the hungry and visit the imprisoned all the time? So I think, well, I went to see someone in prison. I stopped at the halfway house, but I don't do it all the time. I did it. I think I do a lot of things like that. So hearing this perspective it really connected and resonated with me as someone who exhibits compassionate, caring moments, peppered with, let's just say, less caring moments. So, third insight, care really is the distinction. As God cares for us with humility and tenderness, we are to care for others. Right? We're on the verge of Advent. Right? The coming of Christ, it doesn't just happen once, it's an everyday occurrence. The invitation to each of us is to incarnate and embody new ways to become sight for the lost, healing for the wounded, rest for the weary. As I look around at this community gathered on Zoom and here in Drexel Hill, I see those who care for loved ones, those who visit the lonely, collect food, give away turkeys and clothes, help refugees and immigrants, and donate money. As a community, we do that regularly. And I realize I probably know 1% of what is done by the people here. This past Friday, each of us received the Constant Contact, or via Constant Contact, a statement signed by the Justice Committee of Tina Shelton and Joe Boyle, Terry Shields, Fran Kaib, and George Limbach, with a request to review the statement and provide feedback. My request is, let's do it. Let's take a look at it. And whether we agree with it or not, provide feedback. Say, I thought this statement from Power was strong. I thought this statement from Mary Magdalene was effective. It could be better if, or I disagree. We're looking for dialogue. And members of our community have asked us. So my plea is, let's respond honestly and candidly. And sometimes that isn't always good. Everything's great. Let's be honest, we can do that with each other. And the request is to provide your comments back to the committee by the 30th, which is Thursday. And you're being asked because your perspective is valued. So as we conclude this liturgical year and begin Advent next week, we might ask ourselves where we see the face of God this year, in the hurting, in the marginalized, impoverished, ridiculed, hated, and abandoned. And what, if anything, we're prepared to do in response. We are all responsible to extend our hearts and our hands and use our power of persuasion and political action to initiate changes in political, economic, and ecclesial systems that oppress. And God knows there's a lot of them. Let me conclude today with the words of religious reformer, mystic, and doctor of the church, Teresa of Avila. Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which he looks with compassion on the world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses the world. You said it better than me.